Good morning on this Monday, November 4th. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett. I'm your host, Bridgett Ellison, here on News 6 Plus, clickorlando.com, and your YouTube channel. We hope you are having a good start to the week, enjoying that extra hour from falling back. I know I am. I know if you have kids and pets, they probably don't care, but you know what? Savor what you can. And we're enjoying those sunrises as well now that we've fallen back some. So we're going to get ready to head out the door, and Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos is in the Pinpoint Weather Center with a pretty nice forecast lining up for a busy week for us here in Central Florida. But we are also still talking about hurricane season, Candace.
We are. Hurricane season continues to run till the end of November, and we're not only watching one, but three different areas of zones that we're going to continue to monitor, although there is one that's obviously catching a little more attention as it now officially has that forecast cone from the National Hurricane Center. So does it look a little more like a September, early October out there in the tropics? It does, but it has been a wonky year. We were a little bit more concerned, especially when we were hitting kind of that middle part of the hurricane season. A few months ago, we said we need to be careful. This could be kind of a back-heavy hurricane season. That's certainly what we've seen so far. So let's take it to the map, show you what's going on. So that way, as you're running out the door this morning, or you're sitting back and relaxing, you're just kind of watching Breakfast with Bridgett. Temperatures this afternoon are going to be back into those low 80s. We're going to see those rain chances, though, starting to tick up slightly as we head into the afternoon hours. Our coverage for today is up to about 30%. Could get a little higher later on this week. But as of right now, the long-range models, as we head into Friday and into the weekend, it looks like we will be trending a bit drier, although temperatures really aren't going to be fluctuating much, still staying above average in those mid-80s. But yes, we are tracking one specific area. It is tracking potential tropical cyclone 18. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, but it is one area that is out there in the south central Caribbean Sea. So again, we're talking about a trio in the tropics. We have Patty that developed last week. It is now continuing to track towards the kind of the coast of Portugal and Spain later on over the next couple of days. No big concern. We're watching another zone that has a low 20% chance of development in the next 7 days. That will continue to track slowly westward. But it's that area, again, in the Caribbean that we continue to monitor. The reason why it's designated PTC 18 is because it doesn't have its organized center of circulation closed in just yet. So because of that, it's not a depression or it's not a tropical storm. But look how close it is to Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. So the National Hurricane Center designates this like that, so that way they can start getting those watches and warnings in place more efficiently with a little extra time for many of those residents there. So our latest update still has it with sustained winds of 35 miles per hour. It has a latest update there, still looking as a potential tropical cyclone. We're going to continue to track this system as it progresses as a tropical storm as we head into Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon as well. But you can see by the time it starts approaching Cuba, it looks like it could actually start getting stronger, start intensifying a little bit into a Category 1 hurricane as it approaches Cuba. So this is an area that certainly will possibly have hurricane force conditions by the middle part of the work week. Now, as we continue into the afternoon, Wednesday and into Thursday, that's when we are watching it kind of emerge back into the Gulf of Mexico. That's when some of the uncertainty starts to increase as you can see how wide that forecast cone goes. As of now, it doesn't look like Florida is too much of a concern as many of the models are taking it further towards the west. So as of now, the concern is not for us here in Central Florida, but it is something we, of course, want to continue to closely monitor as anytime there's a system in the Gulf of Mexico, we should be very closely watching that. Back here at home, it's going to be a gusty afternoon. Right now, we're seeing wind gusts up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. We are expecting a lot more of the same this afternoon, and that's going to be roughing up our surf, but it's also going to be picking up a couple of those fast-moving scattered showers in the forecast like we dealt with on Sunday. So those coastal hazards, there's a lot of them. We have a high risk of rip currents, a high surf advisory, as well as a small craft advisory for boaters out there. You could get seas up to about 9 to 10 feet. So as we look here at the clouds and rain forecast, a couple of those fast-moving scattered showers will be in the forecast throughout 4 or 5 o'clock. Some pockets, a little heavier batches of rain, no lightning or anything too dangerous out there. But of course, if you have any outdoor plans, don't be surprised if you do get caught under one of those rogue showers. Most of them will be pushing out into the evening hours, more of the same for your Tuesday. So rain chances look like this at about a 20 to 30%, as highs continue to run slightly above average into those low 80s. But as we get results here, the full 7-day forecast do expect a lot more of the same for Monday and Tuesday. Could bring up those rain chances a little further by midweek. Again, all eyes remain on the tropics. Could we start seeing some of that kind of residual outflow tropical moisture as the system moves into the Gulf of Mexico? There certainly will be that possibility, which is why we're keeping those rain chances up to about 50% on Thursday. But then we will be trending drier as we head into Saturday and Sunday this weekend. So, overall, not horrible news for us locally here, but we're still talking about possibly a Category 1 hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. Forecast models right now span about 400 plus miles between, let's say, Louisiana and the Panhandle for possible landfall. So that's something that we're going to continue to look at. We have hurricane hunters scheduled to go in there probably in the next couple hours around 10 a.m. They'll be leaving, and then another one, I believe, at 3. So we're going to have a couple of more missions going in there. They'll get in there. They'll investigate. If we do get a closed center, we will either get it designated as a depression or a tropical storm. The next name on the list will be Raphael. We aren't calling the system Raphael just yet. Kind of shot a lot of people on social media in the foot over the weekend because a lot of people were calling this, getting ahead of themselves, calling it Patty. Where's Patty going to go? Soon to be Patty. And Patty developed not in the Caribbean, but out in the Northern Atlantic. So that's where the confusion lies. That's why we really stress the point of making sure you're finding somebody who puts that into perspective, right? So there's a lot of confusion when you start, oh, I thought this was supposed to be Patty. Why is it Raphael now?
Yeah.
Right. So,
and you want to be informed. You want to be paying attention. You just want to make sure you're paying attention to the right, like, reputable source for those updates, right, Candace?
Correct. Right. So, I mean, right now on YouTube, you go in there, you start searching, Patty, and you'll see all these little thumbnails that say Patty, and it's all highlighted in the Caribbean.
It's wrong.
Or it's not there just yet. I get what they were trying to say. They were trying to say this could eventually become Patty, but don't put the what is it?
The baby.
Don't put the buggy in front of the horse. Yeah, because don't put the buggy in front of the horse. That's it. So
and then
overall,
tomorrow, a big day with Election Day. We had a big early turnout, but a lot of people will go on Election Day, and so you still have some rain chances sprinkled in there, and some people might be in lines depending on where they're going to vote tomorrow. So that's something to keep in mind,
over the weekend there was lines all over the place when we were passing some of the polling sites, the early voting sites. But yeah, rain chances again dodging a little bit. So if you do have to sit outside in line for a little bit, just maybe have the umbrella with you just in case, because you don't have to be running in if the rain starts. But
or a light rain jacket or something with a hood.
Right. The good news is it's anything severe. No lightning's expected. So if you can wait in line and you have your umbrella handy, you should be just fine.
Good to go. All right. Thank you, Candace.
You're welcome.
See you a little later.
Bye.
Bye. All right, we want to check in with Trooper Steve, and he is going to head out in Results 1 a little bit later with a familiar and new face. And so we're going to also take a look at the traffic, too. Are you feeling a little better now? A little bit?
It's just my voice and my chest. I don't know. I talked to a whole bunch of people this weekend, and they're just like, there's this bug going around, not sure what it is. I know a few other people that got it. I've tested for everything under the sun, and it all comes up negative. So I'm just here pushing through. It's funny. I had to Google real quick. I set Candace up. I said the buggy in front of the horse. It's the cart in front of the horse. The cart.
Well, I was about to say baby with the bathwater, but that wasn't the right one.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them out there. I'm sure that we all have.
Count chickens before they hatch. That's another.
Boom, there's another one. That's I like that one better. But yes, today's going to be a cool day because I love when we get new team members, especially when they are as energetic, as positive, and as smooth as butter as Angie is, because I give Angie so much props. She took a nice little break from news, and then she came here to start back up. And she's a local. She's from the Deltona area. So we're going to welcome Angie Casada into Results 1 today at 10 a.m. over at clickorlando.com, YouTube, News 6 Plus, the app. I've walked around the studio and the building a little bit and asked some people What do you want to know? And I have a list of questions that she has no idea.
Uh-oh.
And we're just going to rapid fire random questions in results one and get to know Angie a little bit today over at 10 o'clock.
That should be fun. Where are you guys going to roll out to?
Well, I'm waiting till she gets an assignment.
Okay.
So wherever she goes, I will go, because we've
Okay.
put this off a few times just because circumstances
Yeah.
and news. And today I am making sure it happens because it's Monday. I don't feel the best. I want
And
it
it's
nice
not
and
going to
easy.
slow
And why-
down, so let's do it today.
Amen to that. So join me, guys, at 10 a.m. if you want to know more about Angie. It's a little dark in here. Am I a little dark?
You need a little
I
light.
need to put a
Little
I
light.
need to put a little light in here. So, but let's do a quick check of the roads, and then I'll send you back with your stuff here. So right now I am watching this crash up in Seminole County along Altamont Drive westbound as you approach Ronald Reagan. So please be careful. You have 2 lanes blocked out there. They're trying to push you guys by on a turn lane. And then westbound I-4 in Seminole County, super, super slow right now in the westbound direction, but no crashes out there. Yesterday, there was a really unfortunate mental health situation eastbound that shut traffic down for quite some time, but we're not dealing with that this morning. Southbound 441 through the Piedmont Lockhart area, we're kind of slow, and I'm just calling out some hot spots this morning because the crashes are far and few between. The triangle of traffic, I like to call this one here: eastbound I-4, northbound 535, and Poinciana Boulevard and Bridgett. As long as people are paying attention this morning, I think we'll have a decent day. We have no weather to blame for anything, so just pay attention out there and come join us at 10 o'clock.
All right. Sounds fun. Take care, Trooper Steve. Lots of fluids.
See ya.
All right.
Yes.
All right, we want to get you to some headlines. Also this morning, we have a live interview coming up, a health-related issue. We'll talk about lung disease and why your capacity goes down as you age and how to make sure you're taking care of your respiratory health. We'll be talking to a doctor very shortly about that. But first, in the headlines this morning, of course, results 2024 is the big story right now, counting down to Election Day tomorrow. Polls set to open now in less than 24 hours. The candidates vying for the White House using today as that last chance to deliver those closing arguments to voters. And News 6's Angie Quezada, as we just mentioned today, has the focus and how it remains on the key battleground states where the polls will be close.
In the last weekend before Election Day, Vice President Kamala Harris took the stage in Detroit, Michigan to rally her supporters, painting this election as a critical choice, not just for policy, but for the soul of America.
These days will demand everything we've got, but when I think about the days ahead and the God we serve, we were born for such a time as this.
Harris spoke on inclusivity, healthcare, reproductive rights, and voting access. Meanwhile, in Georgia, former President Donald Trump held his own rally, his message taking a different tone, attacking the current administration's handling of the economy and border security.
With your vote on Tuesday, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals coming into our country, and I will bring back the American dream.
Both Harris and Trump hope to sway the undecided and motivate their bases to show up at the polls. Harris will spend all of today in Pennsylvania, whose 19 electoral votes offer the largest prize among the states expected to determine the Electoral College outcome. Trump makes 4 stops in 3 states: North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. He'll end in Grand Rapids, where he completed his first 2 campaigns.
All right. And so as we push to Election Day coming up, we do have a special that we're airing this afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on WKMG. And we'll take an in-depth look at all the races and the issues on the ballot. So join us for the News 6 election special results 2024. And we'll break down everything that you want to know as you head into tomorrow if you have not voted yet. Also taking a look at development. We're always talking about development around Central Florida because it is booming and happening today. City leaders in Orlando are set to sign off on a big new agreement about a future development. Now, under this deal, Orange County would drop its challenge to the city annexing a 6,200-acre area known as Sunbridge east of Lake Nona. And in exchange, the city's dropping its plans to take an even larger piece of land farther east known as Deseret Ranch. Now, there's another part of the deal causing some controversy because there's a homeless shelter that was in the works with this plan, and people who live nearby that proposed site are not happy about this, and they're planning to protest. News 6's Troy Campbell has more on that.
What went through your mind?
A lot, because this is our home, this is our investment, this is a community that we chose to live in. We purposely chose a place here. We previously lived a few blocks over, and this is where we decided to buy, and we liked all the redevelopment that was going on.
Kyle Steele says he bought his Soto townhome 3 years ago. He says he grew concerned after hearing a lesser talked about portion of the Deseret Ranch deal, where the city of Orlando leases the West Cayley Avenue property for $1 a year for 7 years, transforming it into an overnight homeless shelter.
And we already experienced that in many ways, like at 7-Eleven, we have a homeless population who are struggling with mental health or drug addiction, camping out there, where there's Dunkin' Donuts. We see them pass by on our ring cam, packages and stuff oftentimes get lifted.
Steele's neighbor, Beth Coffey, says she plans to submit a letter to the city, writing her opposition to the project. What are you most concerned about?
The fact that it's not going to work to resolve the housing crisis in Central Florida, that it's not going to certainly help the homeless.
My goal is to hopefully they just pause for a second, hear our comments, try to address those concerns, and then let's figure out a solution together.
And although the plan calls for the city to only pay $1 a year, they'll still have to pay for all repairs, operating, and maintenance costs. The city council meeting is set to begin at 2 p.m. inside City Hall on Monday. In Orlando, Troy Campbell, Getting Results, News 6.
And so we'll keep you posted on that. We're taking a quick break. We'll be right back to talk about lung capacity and aging with a doctor from Optum South Lake. Keep it here. All right, welcome back. We want to talk this morning about your lung capacity. Lung Disease Awareness Month just wrapped up, and of course, your health and taking care of it is an ongoing thing. So this is something that does decrease with age, your lung capacity. And when we say capacity, how much air your lungs can hold. So this morning, we're talking to Dr. Kathy Nguyen with Optum South Lake. She's joining us to talk more about our respiratory health. Good morning, doctor. When we think about lung capacity, I was reading up that we can hold, if we're healthy, we can hold up to three, what's equivalent of like 3 large soda bottles worth of air in our lungs. Why does that decrease as we age?
So before I dig into that answer, just the basic understanding for your viewers, main function of lungs is to move the air breathed through our lungs and take it to our vital organs. Our lungs take the oxygen that's needed out of that air, and the other main function is to release the waste product, which is mainly carbon dioxide.
Mm-hmm.
And black cells are trying to help move that air. Now, why the lung function can decrease as we get older. So normally our lungs are mature at a time we're 20 to 25 years old. But once you reach 35 years of age, it's normal to see a slight decrease in lung function as you get older. The important thing is slight. So if you see a sudden or rapid breathing, that may not be normal. You definitely want to let your doctor know. That's why function declines first. The muscles that support your lungs, such as the diaphragm, that's a large muscle that sits beneath your lungs, helps to expand and relax your lungs. Those can get weaker with, so that will make it more difficult to breathe. Also, the tissues that in your lungs it tends to lose as you get older. It makes the airways smaller. So it makes it harder for air to move in and out when those airways are smaller. And finally, you have the rib cage, your chest wall. That's where your lungs sit. Those bones can get thinner and smaller as you get older, and that leaves less room for your lungs to expand. So that can lead to breathing loss as well.
What are some of the practices we can do to stay healthy and really make sure we're maximizing our health when it comes to our lung capacity?
When it comes to lung capacity, I know we haven't talked about lung disease, but one common
Oh,
thing
okay.
that can cause lung disease is smoking. So if you're smoking, it's easier said than done, but please try it. You can talk to your doctor about ways and strategies to help quit smoking. It's also important to avoid any secondhand smoke exposure. So talking about the things that we breathe in, the quality of the air that we breathe in, either your outdoor environment and indoor environment can also affect our lung capacity and our ability to breathe. So, there's a lot of pollutants out there. So also something to keep in mind. Second thing would be staying active. Exercise, we know, is very important, strengthening your lungs, strengthening which the heart and lungs work hand in hand with each other. With exercise, your lungs can use your oxygen more efficiently, and also can help in your so and your doctor what's the appropriate exercise regimen for you, because that could be different from one person to the next. One last thing that can help with maintaining lung capacity is vaccinations. Patients with lung disease, especially as people get old, we know that the elderly system gets weaker with time. So you're more prone, sensitive to get colds and flus. And we have lots of vaccinations that are available to prevent different infections like influenza, 19. So make sure you consult your doctor to make sure that you're up to date with the recommended vaccinations.
And like you were saying with respiratory illness, and sometimes are all these things, some things are irreversible, but some things are not. Can you kind of explain how that works? Like some things can be
So
improved, but some cannot, and some things can be fatal over. I mean, eventually, chronic illnesses with when it comes to your lungs.
okay, so there's a lot of common lung diseases affect different parts of our lungs. Lung is actually a complex system of many different parts. And yes, some lung disease can be reversible. For example, we can get infection that affects the airways or the lung tissue, uh, like pneumonia. That's what infection lungs is called, or bronchitis, which is an infection of the airways. And those tend to be reversed. Can often treat with antibiotics. Lung disease are irreversible. I mentioned smoking, common cause of lung disease. So people that smoke cigarettes, it causes irreversible damage to the lung tissue. So we have millions of clusters of air sacs in our lungs, and that comprises the majority of the lung tissue. And that's where that important function we discussed with breathing oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide takes place. Cigarettes destroy tissue, and that doesn't reverse. So over time, that can tend to be irreversible, and people with lung disease like emphysema, that's common in smokers. They're not able to completely exhale air because of the damage it causes air to be trapped in those lungs. And that can eventually, if not treated, yes, can be fatal.
And if we want more information on this, where can we go for more information, just to bring more awareness around lung disease and making sure we're watching out for our lung health?
So a couple of good websites that I find user-friendly and also contain reliable information is the CDC, the Center for Disease Control Prevention, actually has a platform on any disease condition that would like to know more about. We discussed vaccinations briefly. The CDC also has updated schedules with what's recommended for certain ages and
Okay.
WebMD.com is also user friendly, and then American Lung Association is another source.
All right, wonderful. Well, this is great information. We appreciate your time, Dr. Nguyen. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Bridget. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Speaking of staying healthy, Dr. Nguyen talked about how certain people with certain sensitivities really should think about getting vaccines to sort of help prevent severe respiratory illness associated with certain viruses and illnesses. So the flu shots are coming up and the season is upon us, and doctors urge everyone to get their flu shot. And News 6 is teaming up with CentraCare, offering free flu shots. We'll be at 3 different locations from November 11th, 13th, and 14th, and we hope that you can come out and join us. The first coming up Monday, the 11th, at a facility along West 1st Street in Sanford, and then we'll be on the 13th and 14th in Orlando and Claremont on University Boulevard in Orlando, and on East Highway 50 in Claremont. So we have all the details, so you can check it out and share that and spread the word, not the flu, on clickorlando.com. Also this morning, we want to remind you about a great way to give back to the community. It will be Thanksgiving before you know it, coming up at the end of the month. And, on Fridays, we like to catch up with News 6 photojournalist and podcast host of Black Men Sundays, Corey Murray. And so for the second year in a row, they are hosting the 2024 Thanksgiving Turkey Drive. And so you can help feed families from the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Florida. Scan that QR code, or you can contact Corey at blackmensundays.com, and they will be giving those donations out, and they hope that you can help make a contribution so that they can feed as many families as possible for Thanksgiving. It was a great turnout last year, and lots of people were able to donate so that they could help as many families as possible. So consider that one. And we're going to wrap it up for now with breakfast. I'll see you at noon on WKMG, and hope you have a great day.